Bruce Lee kick, you don't shake your eyes. Because when you shake your eyes, you cannot see Bruce Lee kick. You know how fast?
Bruce Lee was the fastest fists in martial arts history, with lightning kicks, one-inch punches, and untouchable speed. Yet his own Sifu, the legendary Ip Man, claimed he could stop Bruce cold with nothing but a single finger. No blocks, no footwork, just one finger, and the dragon would freeze. Is it truly impossible, mere arrogance, or the deadliest secret of Wing Chun deliberately hidden for centuries? For years, this story was dismissed as myth until rare old training footage and eyewitness accounts from Ippy's closed-door classes surfaced. Was the wonders of Ip Man's one finger a fact or a myth? Watch on to find out. What really happened inside Ip Man's rooftop dojo? In 1954, Hong Kong, a young Bruce Lee, already notorious for crushing men in cha-cha contests and rooftop brawls, climbed 5 flights to a tiny Argyle Street rooftop dojo thick with incense, sweat, and tiger balm. 10 students stood silent around a wooden dummy while Ip Man, 61, 5 feet 4, 120 pounds, wire-rimmed glasses, plain white tang suit, sat sipping tea like a mild-mannered clerk. Bruce strutted forward, cracked his knuckles, and demanded to test the old master. Ip Man set down his cup, smiled like a tiger eyeing lunch, raised one finger, and whispered, "Come." No film, no photos, just 6 witnesses who, until their dying day, all told the same story. What if the greatest martial artist who ever lived was humbled in 30 seconds by a man who never even stood up? The first witness was Hawkins Chung, Bruce's childhood friend and classmate. In a 1998 Inside Kung Fu interview, Chung described the scene. Bruce rushed in with everything: boxing jabs, Wing Chun chains, even a low kick he learned from a Filipino. Ip Sifu just sat there. One finger touched Bruce's wrist, redirected the line, and suddenly Bruce's balance was gone. He stumbled forward. The finger slid to his elbow, then shoulder, then throat. Bruce froze like a statue. Ip Man never moved from the stool. He just smiled and said, "Again?" Bruce attacked 5 more times. Every time, the same finger stopped him dead. After the 6th try, Bruce dropped to his knees and begged to be accepted as a student. His face was white. In his 2001 book, Ving Sun Trilogy, Moy wrote, "Bruce had incredible speed and power even at 14. But speed means nothing if you lose the center line." Ip Man's one finger controlled the elbow-shoulder line. Once that line collapses, the whole body collapses. Bruce's punches never developed because the structure was broken before the fist traveled 6 inches. It looked like magic, but it was pure physics. The third witness was Ip Chun, Ip Man's eldest son, then 28. In a 2018 documentary, Ip Man, The Final Fight, he recounted, "My father didn't want to embarrass the boy, so he kept it gentle. One finger on the sternum was enough. Bruce's own momentum did the rest. He told me later, I felt like I was punching a wall that moved half an inch and threw me off a cliff. Father said Bruce had fire, but no root. Fire without root burns out fast." This wasn't a one-time fluke. For the next 5 years, every private Chi Sao, sticky hands session followed the same pattern. Bruce would explode with combinations. Ip Man would deflect with minimal hand movement, often using only his index finger. Jesse Glover, Bruce's first student in Seattle, said straight out in 1990, "Bruce told me Ip Man beat him every single time in Chi Sao, maybe 100 times in a row. He said the old man could feel what you were going to do before you did it. One finger was enough." The trick came from decades of real fights on Foshan rooftops in the 1930s and Hong Kong back alleys in the 40s. Ip Man turned Wing Chun into pure close work, nothing over 12 inches. The famous one-finger move, Bilji or Gumji, wasn't for poking eyes. It broke the body's frame. Touch the elbow, and the instant power runs through it, and the whole arm dies. Press the chest or solar plexus with forward force, and the spine buckles. In Bruce's private notebooks from 1957 to 1958, now kept by the Bruce Lee Foundation, there are drawings of Ip Man's hand with the words, "1 finger equals total collapse. I still can't do it." By then, Bruce was already changing things, adding boxing steps and long kicks. Ip Man never argued. Ip Chun wrote underneath, "Dad said, if I own the knee, the kick never comes." Years later in America, Dan Inosanto saw a small wooden dummy on Bruce's desk with one finger sticking out. Bruce tapped it and said, "That's the old man. Still faster than me." The most damning evidence came in 1967, 5 years before Ip Man's death. Bruce, now 27 and filming The Big Boss, returned to Hong Kong for a private demonstration. Student Chu Shong-tin secretly filmed 42 seconds on 8mm. The footage, viewed by only a handful of people before being locked away, shows a frail Ip Man seated, cancer already ravaging his body. Bruce attacks at full speed with side kicks, finger jabs, and hook punches. Every strike is redirected by a single finger. At the 38-second mark, Ip flicks his middle finger into Bruce's solar plexus. Bruce drops to one knee, laughing in disbelief, then bows deeply. The reel ends. 5 separate masters who saw it, including Wang Shunlong and Ted Wan, all said the same thing. Bruce looked like a beginner. Even Bruce's own words betray him. In a never-published 1971 letter to friend James Yim Lee, Bruce wrote, "I thought I had surpassed the old man. Then I went back in '67, and he still owned me with one finger. I realized speed and power mean nothing without a oot. I'm still chasing his shadow." The letter surfaced at a 2022 Hong Kong auction, sold for a large sum. IP Man died on December 2, 1972. Bruce arrived hours too late. According to Ip Chun, Bruce knelt by the body and whispered, "Sifu, I finally understand the finger." 3 months later, Bruce Lee collapsed during a dubbing session and died at 32. The dragon was gone. The quiet grandmaster who never made a single movie had already won the only fight that ever mattered, and he did it sitting down with one finger. The ghost who never lost, the true life and lethal legacy of Ip Man. Ip Man was born Ip Kaiman on October 1, 1893, in the bustling port city of Foshan, Guangdong, during the final years of the Qing dynasty. The Ip family owned half of Foshan. Silk shops, porcelain kilns, even opium dens, and whole streets carried their name. Little Ip Kaiman grew up in a huge mansion with courtyards, servants, private teachers, and his own opera stage. At 6, he started Wing Chun with Chan Washun, a big money changer who locked the doors after work and taught a handful of kids in the Ip family hall. Chan died when Ip was 12, but first, he sent the boy to Hong Kong to train with Lung Bik, son of the great Lung Jan. Under Lung Bik, teenage Ip learned the soft, close, sticky tricks that later made him impossible to hit. Where did the greatest martial artist of the 20th century learn about his deadliest techniques? Keep watching to find out. At 16, Ip enrolled at St. Stephen's College, an elite British school in Hong Kong. Tall, thin, immaculately dressed in Western suits, he looked like a scholar, not a fighter. Yet rooftop challenge matches were the real curriculum. In 1910, a 17-year-old Ip accepted a fight against a 35-year-old wandering kung fu master who mocked Wing Chun as woman's boxing. The fight lasted 8 seconds. Eyewitnesses said Ip stepped inside the man's horse stance, touched the elbow with 2 fingers, and the challenger collapsed like a broken puppet. Word spread overnight. From then until 1949, Ip never lost a documented challenge. Estimates range from 60 to over 300 private rooftop or alley fights. No rules, no referees, often weapons involved. He broke arms, collarbones, and egos, yet never bragged. Survivors simply said, "Touch Ip Man, and you're already defeated." In the 1920s, Foshan, now married to Chung Wing Sing and father of 2 sons, Ip Chun and Ip Ching, became a living legend. He closed the family business and lived off ancestral rents, training Wing Chun only to a tiny circle of disciples in the Ip Ancestral Hall. Japanese occupation in 1937 changed everything. When invaders burned part of the city, Ip refused to teach collaborationist police. Instead, he fled to the mountains, living as a coal miner while secretly training resistance fighters. After the war, he returned to a ruined Foshan and, in 1949, with Mao's troops entering the city, made the hardest decision of his life. He walked away from wealth, status, and family, boarding a Macau ferry with nothing but the clothes on his back. Chung Wing Sing and the children stayed behind. He would never see his wife again. Hong Kong, 1950. A 56-year-old refugee with no money, no Cantonese opera connections, and advancing throat cancer symptoms, he begins teaching Wing Chun out of a tiny flat in Sham Shui Po. Students sleep on the floor, train on the roof, and pay what they can. Within 4 years, The rooftop school will become the most feared in the colony. Rival masters send challengers, Hung Gar, Choi Li Foot, and White Crane. None last more than a minute. In one famous 1954 incident, a tiger-style master brought a wooden bench as a weapon. Ip Man, 61, wearing bedroom slippers, disarmed him with a single tan-saw deflection and ended the fight with one finger to the throat. The bench splintered when the man crashed into it. Police closed the rooftop after too many injuries. By 1957, Ip had moved to a proper school on Lee Tat Street, backed by the Restaurant Workers Association. Bruce Lee walked in. The rest is cinema history. But the real Ip Man never sought fame. He refused all movie offers, turned down American invitations, and lived in a 200-square-foot Yau Ma Tei flat with cracked walls and a single light bulb. Students recall him eating plain rice with soy sauce while teaching until 2 a.m. He never charged fixed fees. Students left whatever they could in a wooden box. When the box was empty, Ip simply smoked more cigarettes and taught anyway. His fighting record remained perfect. In 1960, at age 67, a 30-year-old Thai boxer challenged him to a full contact match. Ip accepted on the condition that no head strikes. His cancer was advancing. The fight lasted 90 seconds. The Thai threw roundhouse kicks. Ip stepped inside, trapped the leg with one hand, and pressed two fingers into the peroneal nerve. The boxer fell hard, yelling in pain, and couldn't stand up for 10 minutes. In 1964, a Japanese karate man wanted a public fight. Ip Man was 71, sick and thin, but he stopped him with 3 quick moves: a slap to the arm, a palm to the chest, a finger to the throat. The Japanese man bowed and walked away quietly. Sad things came with the wins. His wife, Chung Wing-sing, died of cancer in 1960 in mainland China. He was never allowed to go see her. He married again for a short time to a nurse from Shanghai, but she left because they were too poor. By 1970, he looked worn out, smoking 60 cigarettes a day, voice rough like sandpaper. Yet, his hands still felt strong. In 1972, at 79, weak from cancer treatment, and only 95 pounds, he still knocked a tough 25-year-old student down with one finger to the chest in a private video. Ip Man died on December 2, 1972, in a small flat in Mongkok with no money. Bruce Lee stopped filming Enter the Dragon, flew back, paid for the funeral, and cried in front of everyone. He never fought in a ring, never held a trophy, never starred in a movie. Still, every big Wing Chun family today, Wang Shunlung, Sui Shun Tin, Moy Yat, Victor Khan, Bruce Lee, all started with him. He took a dying style and made it the most common kung fu on the planet. His students opened schools in over 60 countries. Donnie Yen's films made him famous long after he was gone.